Hi everyone, I'm Kara, aka Spirit Mother, and I would like to welcome you all back to my channel on YouTube. Spirit Teaches of Going Within Self, on TikTok 1974 and Mind Soul, and I'm also live on my Facebook. If you're new to my channel, I always recommend and suggest, and I really encourage you to read the description of the YouTube channel. Spirit Teaches of Going Within Self to get a better understanding of what my channel is about. Some of you are aware of what it is, and it's spirit to spirit. And if you go anywhere, okay, I talk about politics, like I talk about just every form of the systems. I talk about things that a lot of people feel to be taboo, or you say blasphemy, or what have you. Okay, each to their own. My channel's not for everyone. I'll make you laugh, I'll make you cry, I'll piss you off, you want to punch me upside the head, and some of you actually energetically try to hurt me. And you'll love me, hate me, like me, loathe me, and I guess it all comes with the territory when you work with spirit. Today, yesterday was Truth and Reconciliation, and today I'm talking about it. Yesterday I was going to talk about it, but like something came up, and I ended up not being given time to do it because when I went to the Truth and Reconciliation, I was listening to a gentleman that was talking. He said that he's a professor at St. Mary's University. Now, this is a really touchy subject for a lot of people. Okay? And yesterday, and this isn't the first year this happened with regards to this person I'm going to speak about, because it really freaking irritated me. Like, dude, you didn't fucking learn nothing, did you? Now, it was great. Like, but see, the thing is, when we went there this year, it didn't seem like the same amount of people. There were less people because last year, like everybody was all closed in, kind of together. There was a lot more last year when we were there. Now, like I said, this is going to ruffle some feathers because history has been told a certain way. Okay? And I don't care if you're a historian or archaeology or I don't give two shits, to be honest. You think because you have a degree that nobody else knows fuck all? Are you simple? Now, okay, first off, we're going to start with regards to when the residential schools opened in 1865, I believe it was. Okay? And a lot of people believe it was just Indian children. Okay? Indigenous. People get offended if you say Indian, but hey, why would you get offended by that? Are you ashamed of your own culture? Now, when I went there yesterday, like at the end of it, that was great. Like we went by and we were leaving, and there was a few people at the end of the driveway area, and they had lobster, and they asked if we wanted any, and we thought like we didn't have any money to purchase any lobster or what have you. And we went up to the residential school area, and we were coming back. There was this. I think she might have been more of an elder, like she was close to older, and she came up with a few lobsters, and she asked if we wanted any other lobsters. She said, "Do you have a bag?" No, we don't have a bag. And what have you? I said about the lobster, and I said, like, how much are they? And she said they were free. So we went back, and they were giving us. They asked us again if we wanted some, and we was like, okay. We thought we were going to get two, but they kept putting it in because it was free. And people are going to get pissed off and offended by what I say. Now, we brought them home and we counted them. There were 6 smaller ones and there was 1 big one. And we were putting them in the pot. And I connect spiritually with life, the animals, plants, and what have you. And I could hear them. Don't, please don't. And I looked at my eyes and I was like, you know what? I really just want to take them and let them go. So he was like, do you want to do that? I was like, well, I said, like, I do, but like, what do you want to do? Because he's more into lobster than I am. I'm lucky if I can eat a lobster. And he was like, well, okay, we'll take them, we'll release them. We got them for free. And I said, some people will get offended by it because we had about 350 or more dollars worth of lobster. And we set them free. And I know people say, well, others could have ate those. Okay, I understand that. And we were going to eat them until we got home, and I went through that. So that was a really good highlight to the day that, you know, they were giving away lobsters and, you know, hey, we put them back out in the water and, you know, they're going to make more. So they're going to duplicate from 7 lobsters to many. And I can feel that. It's not an insult to anyone. But like I said, some will take that. So that was a highlight because they were so generous that they gave. It wasn't that, like I said, because some people would try to make me feel guilty for doing that because, well, you got them for free. Yes, we got them for free. And we put them back out. Now, when I was sitting there before we left, we were sitting there and I was listening to this professor from St. Mary's University with archaeology, what have you. Dude, man, do you truly know the fucking history? Do you truly know anything about your heritage? Because you know, this man, this isn't the first. Last year he did it to me too. But I believe he discriminates against white people. And why I say that is because he sat up there and he actually said about his white students. Because he doesn't feel that, you know, they should be doing archaeology in the native community. That's exactly the way he put it. Maybe not in those words per se. But dude, you sat up there and you said that when your white students come to you to talk to you about stuff, you sit in front of your computer and pretend you're doing something and tell them to stare at you for 2 minutes. And then say to them afterwards, like, you know, you sat there and stared at me for 2 minutes. Like, what's so fascinating about me? So when he said about sitting there for 2 minutes, I sat there for 2 minutes. And I just stared and I didn't blink. But see, the thing was, I was staring at him, but I was actually looking through him. And last year when I approached him, he was there. He didn't even want to fucking talk to me. I don't know if he's got something against just white people in general or if it's to do with white women. And if you think that fucking white people can't connect with spirit, you got some screws loose, dude. I didn't learn the languages anywhere. And I was bringing things. Last year, I was trying to have a conversation with him, and I told him that my seventh great granddaddy was the one that got scalped in the Edward Cornwallis raids in 1756. Oh, he don't like the Europeans either. Dude, you must have been the one that your side must have been the ones that were on the British side. They fucking said that the Europeans were the ones that came in and colonized your place. We were the first ones. No, we weren't. Shit. Did you ever do your homework, man? You're a university. You're a professor, not being ignorant, but hey, Cornwallis's ships to Halifax, 1749. And then the other ones didn't start coming until the European settlers didn't start coming until 1751. Edward Cornwallis's ones, they were the British. Eles descobrimos. Isso aí. These are all Edward Cornwallis. Okay? So, hey, you know, I don't have anything against really the French or the British. What I have against it is the way that it's been doctored and manipulated into thinking that the European settlers were the ones that fucked you people over. Like, you know, hey, we were indigenous. We may have been French, but we were German and everything, and we were Indian. Just because I got a white face doesn't mean that I don't have native ancestors. You want truth and reconciliation, but you don't fucking know what it is. You want to sit there and tell people that, hey, you know, if you're not Indian and you're not indigenous, you don't know how to connect with the spirits and you don't know fuck all about our heritage. Bullshit. Because we were part of it. Seriously. You destroying person. You should not be teaching. Am I aggravated? You're fucking right I am. I didn't go to pay respect to just Indians, what you perceive to be Indian people. I was paying respect to my family too. Because it was our families, the European settlers that came too, that got thrown into the residential schools because we didn't speak fucking English either. You know, people really need to understand and know what fucking truth and reconciliation is because you ain't got a clue if you think it's just about your people. The inhabitants, okay, this is about us. European settlers, what did they call them? My ex-husband's family was a loyalist. They were the British. And maybe that's why he's so pompous towards me, because he will not get any part of what I say because I'm always the one who's fucking wrong. No, I'm not fucking wrong. Press, I was going to say Presbyterians. I'm trying to think of the word because I have it here. The foreign Protestants. Protestants. I did my genealogy. I went digging. And yes, I am fucking pissed off because history is not being told right. He had disdain for me. Dude, you're up there in front of a bunch of people who's supposed to be there on a truth and reconciliation, and you're discriminating white people. You're a disgrace to your own fucking people, man. You had no fucking time for me. You seen me standing there waiting to talk to him. Same as what he did last year. Dude. Maybe the university should be investigating you. My ancestors spoke German, Swiss, French, English, like a dialect. We had to learn English, right? If you think it wasn't happening to everybody who didn't speak English, seriously, do your fucking research. Seriously, I'm so irritated with all this fucking division of, oh, this group's been hard done by, that group's been hard done by. And it's always the European settlers and the British who are the fucking problems. Well, let me fill you in, because if you did the science and you did the fucking genealogy and you actually looked into it, you would find that the negative bloodline was the original bloodlines, and they were European and they were African and what have you. I am part of that because I am all negative, so I have that blood. And 15%. So, dude, learn your fucking history. And stop telling people that, oh, because you're white, you don't know about the indigenous of fucking shit. I probably know more fucking about it than you do. You really make me sick, man. This is a spirit to spirit, and I'm pretty sure maybe that person's fucking watching too. And he ought to be ashamed of himself because you make me sick. Better not talk to the white girl. White people can't connect with spirit, you ignorant fucker. And I do, because I got no respect for you. I got respect for the indigenous people. But I got no respect for you. Anybody like you that feels that way because you would be the one that would fucking corner a white person. Yeah, I am spitting that corner a white person and fucking say that they were the problem and then, oh, racism, racism. No, you're fucking racist, boy. People think, oh, only white people are racist. Only white people are bull fucking shit. He's a prime example of what racism and discrimination is. Do I have every right to be pissed off? You're fucking right. Hey, dude, do you think that my ancestors were thrown in that place? I went there and I was sitting there when this man was preaching his speech. I was sitting there and spirit had me trailing and looking around the place. And I was sitting there and I was fucking crying, you goddamn fucking moron asshole. Oh, my channel's not for everyone. Because my channel's a spirit to spirit. And if anybody's getting irritated with this, good fucking for you. Because you are the problem with the world. You sit up there in your fucking chair like you're all this and putting your speech out how when you're like you're this and you're that, and people that aren't indigenous, they can't fucking, they know nothing about the indigenous culture for fucking shit. Maybe I should call the dean at the St. Mary's University and tell him how much of a pompous ass we've got working for them that fucking discriminates against their own students. I was sitting there and I was channeling the spirit as I was looking around. I was seeing parts where, kids were playing, but they were also bullying each other. And I seen one part where it was like you could see I could walk on that fucking schoolyard and feel where kids were hurt and harmed. He said there's nothing on that property that they touched yet. Are you sure about that? Maybe you need somebody who can connect with spirit instead of using your goddamn fucking machines all the time. Bring someone in that can actually tell the story and express it. But wait a minute, I'm just a little white girl, uneducated. I don't care if you got fucking 30 or 35 years under your belt with it. I guess you still ain't learned nothing, have you? I'm so sick of it. When I was sitting there channeling, Spirit had me like it was like I was my own sonar. And when I said, it was like, oh shit, there's a tunnel. Right as soon as I said there was a tunnel, two archaeologists apparently messaged him while he was sitting there in front of him. He said, oh, wow, one, and then two. And then I went up to ask about when they were going to do this, about coming out. He was very dismissive. Well, it'll be on the website. Like you, man. And I don't like ones like you, and I have no respect for ones like you. You are the ones like you are the ones that keep people in that part of being discriminating against one another. Boy, when are you gonna fucking grow up? Because you sure the hell haven't. You got a fucking chip on your shoulder, man. Seriously. And I'll fucking tell you right now, the tunnel is not on the school property, but you might want to find out who owned the fucking property next door. Because those kids were drug off. That's why you're not finding them. Some of them were all piled up together in fucking front. Maybe that's why I was fucking smelling like I was cooking like ham. But I don't know nothing. I just connect the spirit, right? You ignorant old goat. Seriously. You shouldn't be teaching, man. I didn't learn these languages anywhere. I connect with spirit. Something you fucking know nothing about, boy. And I do call you a boy because you're a fucking adolescent boy child who fucking has a chip on his shoulder and has a disdain for white people. You must be your ancestors must have been the ones on the fucking British side. Maybe it was your ancestor who was right alongside Edward Cornwallis that scalped my great granddaddy, my seventh great granddaddy, which was the one that did the petition to get everybody off of George's Island. Because wait a minute, here it is. Where is it? My ancestors, they spoke a corrupt dialogue of French with a German intonation. Some of them had French Bibles and a few other books in that language. From their sufferings, which they had endured for their religion after their annexation to France, they had a strong antipathy to French and Romanist, which has continued among their descendants to this day. In fact, they did not wish to be called French, but spoke of themselves as Swiss. But through the generations, insisted their language was French. So, dude, maybe you should fucking step down and let a white person do it. It might do a little better than you because you obviously don't connect with spirit. Not being rude, but isn't that what your heritage teaches? This isn't throwing shade at Indian culture, but some will take it that way because you're so warped into thinking that the European settlers were the fucking problem. We ran for our lives. We had our shit stolen, and we ran for our lives. And we were put on a fucking island to work to be slaves for the British, just like you. But you want to say it's us? We're fucking shit, it's us. It's like, for fuck's sakes, people, when are people going to get it? You're discriminating against your own fucking family because they got white colored skin. Oh, wait, it's not fucking white. And wait a minute, I saw quite a few white people, and they were said to be indigenous. What, is it because you say they marry into your people? Wait a minute. We married into each other's people. Because it was my seventh grade granddaddy who got scalped because he was harboring some youth to protect them. But hey, he got scalped. They had to hide them. But then they scalped my seventh grade granddaddy in front of his pregnant wife and his 1.5-year-old son. And guess what? That 1.5-year-old boy knew who killed his boy. They said that it was an indigenous, an Indian who scalped him. Is it one of the ones that worked for Cornwallis, on the British side? See, fuckers! Put it in my eye! So no fucking wonder there's so much back and forth. When are you going to get it? The Queen said, my little Indians. She was talking about us too. But hey, to that man, I know fuck all because I'm just a white one. Dude, you're as racist as they come. And you sit up there in your chair and you preach about what you do. I'll tell you what you do. You bring disgrace to your own people. Is what you do. I even told him last year because I was inquiring about his course because I had got accepted into St. Mary's University. So I was inquiring about his course, and he was very dismissive of me. Dude, maybe you're the reason why people don't get into archaeology because they don't want to work with assassins like fucking self. Ooh, you get a down low for a lady. Good. Who said I was in my feminine right now? This is the second year man did this to me. you ought to be ashamed of yourself. That'd be the same as me telling you, you know, fuck all about white culture. That'd be pretty fucking ignorant of me doing that. Let's have a test. Let's see who actually connects with spirit and who doesn't. Because I'll guarantee it'll be me connecting with spirit because you're too wrapped up in the fucking dogma of the world that you lost your heritage. You have a bad chip on your shoulder, man. And then people wonder why there's so much division. You know, to the indigenous community, you say that we owe that the white people owe you money, that the government owes you money. Did you not realize that half of your indigenous family fucking sided with the British and they're the ones in fucking control? And that's why you have no goddamn fucking money because they're just as bad. Did you know that that every year the government gives them billions of dollars? I'm sure the fuck it don't go into your community. And then people will sit there and say about we brought alcohol to you. The white people brought alcohol. The white people brought alcohol. But yet you're building these buildings that you're selling marijuana. The thing is, nobody made you drink it, and nobody made us smoke it. And I'll tell you right now, if you think that it's only white people that freaking abuse the women, they were fucking doing it even before the fucking white. Well, we weren't really white. We were of color. But hey, what does the little white uneducated mean? Dude, when it comes to spirit, fuck it, I love you. You know, and they have about all children love, but yet she's saying that the only children that mattered in this was ones that looked like him. Man, maybe you should go get educated. Because just because you can put in the fucking ground and then saying that, oh, certain people, he has a craft, but others, it would be art. Does art not become a craft? You know, it's called the Masons, right, fucker? My family were the Masons, jackass. We were the Masons, the Templars, the church, and the Masons were the indigenous, right? The majority of the history. But wait, according to you, who don't know fuck all really, because if you did, you wouldn't be discriminating against me. But people say, oh, well, you're discriminating, you're racist, you're racist. I'm not fucking racist. My family was fucking indigenous. We were Indians. But yet, you know, you'll say that the European settlers stole your land. We didn't fucking steal your land. The British stole it. The same as they stole the Europeans, their land, and everybody else's. But you won't believe that, right? Because you're taught one thing in school and then you fucking run with it. like, if I told you I was shitting Skittles, would you believe me? Oh, wait, you can actually shit Skittles because, you swallow them whole and they'll come out whole. Can't say shit no purple shit because, well, that wouldn't work either because I could eat a whole bunch of beans. That's not very like talk. Hey, and you're not a very good professor. And I'd like to see you in the news one day because one of your students. I would have went into. I was actually looking into going into that too with the indigenous, but I wouldn't want him as a professor because I'd end up fucking squaring him off right in class and I'd be expelled. Bisikileta kunisha ni mosi kuriea. I'll tell you right now, not being rude, but I think I have more spirit connection than a lot of Indians and South. So, hey, maybe they'll be Indians or whatever you call it, indigenous or Native American, I don't care. Maybe you'll come up and you'll want to slap me in my face. Look good. Hey, maybe you should slap yourself in the face so you can fucking wake up. It's your own people who are hurting you. And they've been doing it since Edward Cornwall. Because you're just into the money as much as everybody else. You don't mind wearing gold. You don't mind wearing diamonds. There are indigenous people, native people, and there are actually white people that also know the stuff too. Because we were family. But dude, you know nothing about family. Because yesterday when he was talking about what indigenous did was a craft, and then when the European settlers come in and they started doing things a little differently, it was art. Are you fucking mental, man? People tell me I need to be in a mental institution. Dude, maybe you need to be that. Because like I said, you probably didn't even do your own fucking history. Even when I was polite to you and told you that, hey, I wasn't trying to study because all you had to do was talk to me. I'm not like when I was sitting there and I was looking, I just totally looked through everything in there. I turned to frequency. Everything looked like if you see something vibrate. And when I told him that I did that, and then I told him that I wasn't studying, I want you to tell me your story. I don't study. I've watched people. but energetically, I will know your story. And it doesn't have to come out in the fucking mouth. Just the way he was speaking said volumes for his character. And you call yourself a noble? See if the remorse should have been in the face of it. No wonder they're fucking fighting. Because you're teaching it, man. You're teaching your students to discriminate against white people, asshole! Istituto Puritano Sud. Ellie, you're so angry. Well, don't be in my channel. I have every right to be fucking angry. The same people that are screaming discrimination and racism, they're being discriminating against me. So I guess, man, you don't know what it's like to connect with spirit, because if you did, you'd be fucking you would experience what I experienced. I even ask people, hey, why don't you let me talk to your elders? For what? Because I'm a white girl? Not being rude, just saying. Because I've been trying for a while now. But hey, you're ignorant fucking. You are so goddamn fucking ignorant! I went on that property last year, over where the monument is. Like somebody was trying to fucking pull me through the ground or pull up from the ground. I was like, trying to get my fucking feet off the ground. And when I come back across, when I went through that barrier and I went onto the property, right onto it, that's when I started feeling it. And when I come back across, I can feel the right back in it. There's a fucking, it's a, they can't get free. The spirits cannot get free. But you'll fucking laugh at me, right? And that shows your true ignorance. Because I guess you don't know your own fucking heritage. You can say you're this, you can say you're that, but can you prove it? And I don't mean just by the way you look or because you have a status. Because true indigenous actually connect with the spirit itself. Sat there and I was crying, and my ex-husband came over and he knew what was going on because he sees me go through it all the fucking time. No matter where I go into a museum, I go on property or anything like that. I can. It's like, holy shit, man! But would you believe me? No, fuck no, because you're not indigenous. How can you do that? Hey, Druid, but don't say like if you say Jewish, because the Druids were actually of the Jewish because they were Scottish. Our ancestors were connecting with spirit. I will follow my ancestors and spirit before I will ever fucking follow you, because you guide people in your direction. I don't care how much fucking digging you do in the ground. That ain't telling your story. I'm here to tell your story. Last year, man, you showed up in some kind of fucking, I don't know what it was called. It was one of those freaking weird cars. It was like not a dragon. You showed up in a T-Rex. Seriously, ego trip much? You had to look cool, right? You're a professor. Serious, I don't care if you fucking like me, man. I really think you should step down, because you're doing your students a disservice. You're creating race. You're creating discrimination and racism, but you'll sit in your seat on truth and reconciliation. But when I told him that I connect with spirit, he just wanted to get further away from me. I was talking to him, and he was walking, but he had no time for me. And then there was a couple of people that, oh, I have to go see. I have to go see these people. You ignorant asshole. And I do call it how I see it. And you bring disgrace to your ancestors. And just I can say that. Weird. Seriously. You say it's a white man? No, not in this case, it's not at all. Do you know my family got thrown out of where they lived and put up social up around Cascade Harbor? We got put in the middle of Buckle, nowhere to live. We had everything stolen from us. So it wasn't us who stole to live. But you keep going with that narrative, right? Go kiss his ass. Go kiss the British ass. What they paid you with. This is your truth and reconciliation. You know, to find truth, to come to reconciliation, you need to connect with the spirit. Something, man, you know nothing about. That's when you're going to come to truth and reconciliation. because you're going to go past all the fucking dogma that they taught you in school to keep you divided and blame it all. Oh, it was all the European settlers. They were to blame, but yet you were the fuckers that were here first. Not being rude, just saying. And I'm talking about the British that blamed it all because that's what they teach. They teach that it was the European settlers that come in and stole your land when it actually wasn't. It was actually Edward Cornwallis and his fucking dudes. Half your people sided with him. Half the people sided with the European settlers. Because European settlers were in. Not all, because some of them we were German and everything. We were all indigenous. Because I'll tell you right now, people say that it was one culture over the other, but because many of us. That fuck no, right? Somebody yesterday message like when I made a comment. That's not what it's about. What I say, but spirit, you're fucking right. It is. You're fucking right. My sixth grade granddaddy knows who killed his father because his father got killed in 1756, which happens to be right at the same time that the Paris Treaty War broke out from 1756 to 1763. They tried to kill us all. And the best way to do that was take you away from family and then cause division between the tribes. The man with that last name from the Bootler Brothers, because you said the Bootler Brothers were wearing moccasins, right? That was confirmation. The Bootler Brothers were said to be wearing moccasins. They were indigenous. They were babies. And they were my seventh grade nephews. See, when you bring truth and reconciliation, you just want to bring a story. You don't want to bring the truth. And I understand what those people went through. And just because I wasn't, maybe my ancestors were, and they they showed me because I could always hear it was like a fucking warning. Shaking the keys all the fucking time. You better shake your keys, man. And many of the children would gang up on some stuff. And many of the staff were injured. She didn't tell that part, did she? Of course, because that might be true. I mean, yeah, true. And people can't play victim anymore, right? Look, wait a minute. Listen. Isikilo tayo suya ta kasi kumotoy use. Sutoy. You would think that, people of indigenous, of Indian, and what have you would think that somebody, whether whatever color they were, if they were telling you that they connect with spirit, and all of a sudden they started speaking in a different fucking language, I guess you don't get it, do you? You don't understand your own fucking heritage. Better dismiss the white girl, right? She's got no education. My education's spirit. You can take your fucking books and cram them, I'll read through them, and I'll see things, and spirit will tell me whether or not it's true. But people will be like, "All right, you have to say anything. You're not indigenous. You're not Native American. You're not Indian." I might even be more Indian than most of you. Just because you have a specific color or look a certain way. Hey, I'd love to show you what my granddad looked like with my grandfather and my grandmother. They look just like you. But wait, they can't. You're fucking right. You can't. Anybody who didn't speak English got taken and put in a residential school. People say, no, that's not true at all. You're fucking right. It's not true. Because I'm sure the fuck you're not going to find it in the mainstream cuisine. The Byzantines, the Bootlears, the Delphine, the Delphine girl. She was the one that they said was the 15-year-old that my cousin supposedly approached the that man that was they said that was supposed to report live in the house was their godfather. And the Delphine girl, or 15-year-old, that was the same night that my great granddad found out that she was sick. But people didn't believe that. He got her to safety. He had to hide it because she was a witness. She got away and she ran. He's right in the book. They say Zancy. That's it. You know, did you ever hear the song Reba McEntire, The Night the Lights Come Out in Georgia? And you read the lyrics, or you see the lyrics on it, and it's sad about it, with bad Andersons, the Andersons, and Red Star. Have any of you actually looked at the novel body? Because the Andersons and Webb's Bar was right around my granddad's, sixth great granddad. See, like I said, has any of you ever watched the movie Frozen? Because people are like, you're looking for a specific look, and it can't be a white girl. Can't be a white girl that's going to find out the truth. Of course not, right? Did you ever watch the movie Frozen 2? People say, oh, well, I didn't watch it. Well, good for you. Maybe you should, whether it's Disney or not. Because Elsa went down the rabbit hole. She went to the depths where she pretty almost lost her life to do it because she was finding out the truth. Because the indigenous, they said, how could they choose an Arendelle with, like, how could they, basically along the lines, how could they give magic to someone of Arendelle, and then found out that she was one of both sides of the movie. Wait, someone showed it. Xanthan McMullen in both sides of the looking glass. Indigenous, British. European, British. But hey, basically the police are with the usually the police. But hey, they say you don't live off the land or on the land. You live with the land. I live with the land. And obviously, man, you don't. Because you don't use spirit. Because if you did, you wouldn't be discriminating with your students. An old man discriminating against kids. Wow. You need to be a man. You really need to remove. See, spirit puts me where I need to be when I need to be there because I am part of spirit's destiny. Your ancestors set me because they're mine too, but because I'm right here to be. You don't know spirit, man. A true indigenous person would truly know how to connect with spirit, not just say it, but actually be it. I may not be able to tell you what fucking herbs go where, I may not be able to tell you what crystals work, or I may not be wearing beads because you believe that your culture is just of beads. Beads and baskets. But we were so much more. I live with I live with spirit. I connect with spirit, and I'm not ashamed to say it. If I'm crazy or not, with all due respect, don't you say it's your culture that does it, but I don't see you doing it. Well, there's anger there. It's like, good, good. I'm glad. But I have to ask when you're going to get it. When are you going to actually see the truth to come to the reconciliation? Hey, maybe you're, I don't know, maybe you're in your 70s. I don't know. We're close to it. But you still ain't learned nothing. Whether you went to university and got taught how to fucking dig through dirt and know where to step. Shit, I step and I want to get my feet off the ground because it feels like something's trying to pull on me. And a lot of people have to go to mushrooms to do that, or ayahuasca. Just the other day I was out here, and I don't know, like it wasn't an eagle, but it looked like something along like not a raven, because that's like a crow, different from a crow. Um, hawk maybe, and the crows. I could hear the crows, and they were chasing. At first, I thought it was like a seagull, but I was looking, and it wasn't. So I just, in the languages, I just started like yelling at the crows to stop, and they understood because they stopped and they went in the tree over here, and they kept looking and squawking, and I kept telling them off. I took a stick to point at them, and I said, telling them that, you know, they're land on this land and everything. And it sat up in the tree and just watched. And the crow stopped. I connect with it. People don't believe that. You just want to say you need to be in a psychiatric unit. No, you need to come out of fucking denial. I don't care. You can stand at these truth and reconciliations. You can put on your t-shirts and everything like that, but that doesn't mean that you're coming to truth and reconciliation. Because until you're ready to see the truth, you are never going to reconcile. And people like that man, you need to move him out of the way. Because he is part of the problem. And anyone who believes in things like he does. I could feel people who had no time for me. You know, maybe my ex-husband looks a little more like a blonde indigenous because you know he goes out with no shirt on. like I said, you're looking for a specific look, and it's not the look at all. It's the spirit, it's the heart. You know, even my own, even certain people way about like they think about like indigenous Indians. You're discriminating your own people. Do people not realize, like you're saying about all these people, that, like immigrants and what have you coming over? Do you know you're just watching history repeat itself? It's like you're seeing the past in modern times. And yes, you got the ones coming over causing shit because they were the ones that looked for the rules. This is just showing you. But you won't get that, right? Because you don't believe in that shit. And that's where I feel sad and sorry for you. And I feel for the ones that are still alive that went through that because of how long the residential schools stood up. But just remember, it wasn't just your people. It was other people from your family who also spoke a different dialect. If you weren't English, what the fuck you were going into the school? You might know education. He was illiterate, so he couldn't read or write. And maybe he was a pretty good businessman because he could read energy. Hey, he was building ships, but he was building other types of ships in the background. See, last year, the man, he criticized Oak Island because they were looking for treasure, but they were finding coins and they were looking into the coins to find out what heritage they came from and what people they came from and what have you. So seriously, dude, how is that any fucking different to what you're doing? Because I'll be honest, it's no different. But you'll say it is why? Because they're white people. Well, that treasure they're looking for is part of your family's treasure too, because it's part of ours. Your ancestors were the ones bringing it over and hiding it too. Finding that stuff there. But you won't believe it, man, because you got too big of a chip on your shoulder. Here, let me take one of those axes you found and help you take it off. You know, it's pretty difficult to be a white woman in a man's world, right? Especially where, you know, the Indian chiefs and higher ups, and that is much the same as the government. And hey, they were in on Cornwallis roads too. They were going around and terrorizing people. But yet you say we were the savages. You guys were savages too. Because you were killing your own people even before we got here. But you won't believe that, right? Survival. Because I can feel that right in here. People have disdain for me, and that's just fine. You were also savages because you were going around scalping people. And you say that's not savage? Edward Cornwallis was paying your own people to scalp you. And then said that the European settlers were the fucking problem. My ex-husband, he's still in that dogma of the British. Go fuck yourself, man. The loyalists against the resistance. For Protestants, however you pronounce the European settlers. Don't believe me that Indians were speaking French too? Were speaking French? You're fucking right they were. Why don't you look a little deeper? Because, dude, your ancestors came along with it. I bet you didn't go in your genealogy. This is so stupid. I got a cord for this, and the cord for it don't work. It's really fucking weird. Oh shit. Like I said, there's gonna be people who don't like me, and I don't give a shit. And it's not. It's like you keep yourselves divided, and there's even going to be white people who will be fucking pissed at me for this, but I don't care. You don't know spirit. Because if you did, we wouldn't be doing to each other what we're doing. Indians in France. Indo-French people or Indians in France are residents of India or France in France, as well as people of Indian nation or origin. According to the Indian Ministry of External Affairs, there are an estimated 119,000 overseas Indians living in metropolitan France, in addition to 367,379 in the French overseas departments of regions of Guadeloupe, Reunion, Martinique, and French Guiana. Okay. Indians in France, total population. Okay. Regions of significant population: Paris, overseas, France, French Alps, languages, Beguine, English, Murray. Okay, these are the Hindu, French Hindu. And then relay Irid, this on Wikipedia. I can't pronounce these. Like, these are the languages of Indians in French, even English speaking Indians. Region, predominantly Hinduism, majority, and like I can do Siskin. If you look it up, related ethnic groups, non-resident Indians and persons of Indian origin, Indians in Germany, Indians in Switzerland, Indians in Italy, British Indians, South Asians in Ireland. But, because is that the 12 tribes? Seriously, because majority Sikhism, Islam, Catholicism, Presbyterianism, Jainism, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism. Can't pronounce it. Go look it up. The majority of France, majority ethnic Indian community originated from Chenar Margor of West Berlin, Benjol. See, I can't pronounce these words, and if you want to see, the thing is, Indians will say, well, the people will say we came here and we colonized it, but hey, you don't mind using the colonization, do you? People are saying the split. Do you not know how to integrate both? Because that would be the right thing to do. To be able to have both. If people are spiritual, then you go to spiritual therapists, you go to spiritual healing and what have you, and it'll all be covered. Because there are people who they don't believe in that. So, and there's people who don't believe in medication, but the ones that believe in medication will throw shade on the ones who don't believe in medication. The ones who don't believe in medication will throw shade on the ones that do believe in medication. Why can't you just fucking integrate? Teach each other. You don't have, if somebody wants to learn, don't push. We can't push our stuff. But it's got to be ready and rare. It's got to be available to people, no matter what side you're on. And when you get that in your thick skulls and stop saying that these people, these ones, oh, the European settlers, they colonized us. No, the fucking British colonized you. We were just the fucking slaves aboard to do their fucking dirty work while they were all drinking and having their little punching matches. Because their dicks were standing up in the air thinking that they were all that. And then they integrated, some of the European settlers probably even took the side because money was involved, right? There was an incentive. Hey, go kill your fucking family member, go kill your neighbor, and we'll give you a few dollars here, please. Don't forget to have your Ti seguiremo duríssimo, né? So people really that you really need to get educated on what truth and reconciliation is. Because you ain't got not a goddamn fucking clue. And did I use goddamn? Yeah, goddamn. Are you gonna blaspheme for that? Oh, you're condemned because you used goddamn you used Lord's name in vain. Better get out your fucking Bible and prove it to me. Not being rude. Neither one of you want to like hear each other because you want to say these people did this and those people did that. You all did it because the Indians helped colonize. They weren't forced to. They were integrating, and then fucking, Edward Cornwallis, you gotta have your penis in the air. Didn't like that. Oh, they're getting along too good for us. We gotta create division. That was the same as the black community. When, my family came into Stellarton, and the black community came into Edward Cornwallis and his people. They had to create division. And now blacks are racist against white, and white are racist against black. When are you all gonna fucking grow up and get it? But you'll hate me for what I say, right? Because I'm a white girl and I'm apparently uneducated. I don't give a shit if you're black, pink, rose colored, purple, or orange, brown, white, because white is actually fucking albino. A person without pigment. Or didn't you get that? Your Hopi prophecy speaks of when the white spirit comes. But hey, go say about the white crows, go say about the white buffalo, go say about the white deer. But God forbid it can't be a fucking white spirit coming to speak, right? Because that's not of the Indian culture. Am I mocking you? No, I'm trying to speak sense to you. They say common sense. When are people going to use it? I don't care if this makes me lose people watching my videos or not. I really don't give two shits anymore. I've done the work. I went deep in the work. I drew that picture with that's the kid's drawing. Is it? Is it really? Because it's called a psychic drawing. Go look into it. And there's an interpretation of it. I did it with spirit. And this is what you're moving towards. But it ain't gonna happen until everybody fucking grows up and gets a grip on reality and realizes what's really going on. Truth and reconciliation comes when you find spirit. Istituite para que Ananias no te caso lo que te puede ganar en Asturias. Looking for a man? Oh, right, because Jesus told Thomas that he's going to come in. Maybe she came as a protest. Or maybe Jesus was in this Nicholas test, which his actual name wasn't Jesus at all, and it wasn't Yeshua. his father's name is Christopher. Why do you think they say Saint Christopher? Nope, Santa Claus. Christian, Christ consciousness, Christopher, crucified. You know, even the ones at Oak Island, they say they're looking for treasure. They said that, hey, you know, we get people that come on here and have a spiritual experience. But yet, you know, I was in the background and they put me right out on the show while I was having a spiritual experience and then tried fucking patronizing me. Maybe I wasn't the one worried about the spirits. I was I was experiencing the spirits that had disdain for you working at Ohio. And you tried to fucking embarrass me. Seriously. And on Oak Island too, they blamed it on the European settlers. You fucking disgusting. Better go get your money, right? Because exploiting people's past and exploiting people's heritage and stealing from people's tombs makes you feel important. Yeah, my. No fucking wonder people are disgusted and mad. That's the same as the transgender community. Two-spirited, you know, our indigenous families, our families were treated like that too. Because we were two-spirited, but you'll say, oh, well, that term didn't come out until the 50s. Oh, fucking shit. We knew how to connect over masculine and feminine. We knew how to play each other's roles. It didn't matter where you fucking came from. Just because somebody's white doesn't mean they're not Indian. You know, people take offense to that. Indigenous, African, uh, Native American. You know, you even say African American. They're African, whether they live in America or not. You're adding their history to make it sound better for yours. Because I'll tell you right now, you discriminate against each other and you're racist towards each other, and it doesn't matter what fucking color you are. You call each other immigrants. They're your fucking family members, jackasses. They're the ones that left their lives because of what was going on here with the whites and their own people. They were even going missing because you think that the Underground Railway the Underground Railroad was actually fucking underground, and it was all the proofs that your ancestors were. It didn't matter if you were white, black, brown, or albino. But people won't get that because, you better go back to school and learn all the dogma. It's not about tearing down statues and things like that to reenact history. It's about putting the history out there for everyone to see and keeping it up. To some, Edward Cornwallis was a hero. To others, Edward Cornwallis was a savage. Edward Cornwallis was a savage short-sighted who scalped him in front of his kid and treated him, and then he was drug away to George's Island. And man, oh man, was he fucking scary. Because he looked like somebody who had either been burnt or skinned alive or both. And the fuck, the dog that he had, that was awfully demonic. Maybe he was one of your individuals. You would disagree. My seventh great granddaddy, his life was taken through truth and reconciliation. And you guys put a fucking or shit on a white girl? You're fucking assholes. Because I am one of the most spiritual people that you will ever come across, and I am more spiritual than you will ever be. And you say that you're of that. Prove it. Seriously. Fucking prove it. I could feel people's energy, and I know who was on the side of Edward Cornwallis, and I know who was on the side of my great granddaddy. When you tell somebody not to look into their genealogy, my question is, why would you do that? Why would you say, well, they're not family? Because my fuck, if it weren't for them, you would not be alive today. Dice montaña música. Necesito correr, necesito correr. Ikuto Pokemon. I heard that. She has histrionics, and you have a fucking attitude problem. Seriously, go find yourself. You fucking preach about nothing you know. You're not peace. Black History Month. You have the month or week or whatever for gay pride, Indigenous Week or what have you. And you have one day of remembrance for the ones that fought for you. Do you not see anything wrong with that? You know, maybe there are ones in the military that are corrupt, and there are a lot of hires because they're bought and paid for. But there are a lot of them that are becoming whistleblowers. Do you know that in the Boulevard Brothers trial, the adult man that was said to have been killed, do you know that a year after my great granddaddy was scalped, he was put on the Indian patrol? Do you know, I often wondered if it was my great, like sometimes I wonder, did the wife come home, did the grandmother come home, or said and find the father raping his granddaughter, said granddaughter, and he went and tried to catch her and killed her, and the girl ran. This is really unfortunate. You know, his own people, his people, the Indian people showed up. So what did he do? Did they tell him, hey, you know, man, you just killed your wife. You better fucking run, man. And let's take another body and throw it in there and say that it was this and put blood on something. Because I don't believe for a minute that the man actually died when he went underground and he was searching for the gold since. See, I learned from my ancestors. I don't learn from the education system. I don't learn from the government. I learn from the ancient ancestors too. But you won't believe that, right? How could you? Oh wait, shoot, really? Should Indian people believe in that stuff? You know, it's part of your heritage, right? Your culture. You speak of it, you go smoke your peace fights and you do this and the rituals and stuff like that to communicate with them. I don't have to do that to communicate with them. I do it all the time. Spirit is my best friend. My shadow is my best friend. My shadow may be my darkness, but my darkness is my honest to me than anything is ever, even if it's true. The same as the light. The light will see its pain. But hey, you're indigenous, you're Indian, you're Native American, however you perceive yourself to be. Just say about it, but you don't be about it. You know, I don't care, excuse me, but I would follow spirit before I was supposed to get anything to read. That's what's true. spirit means. You talk about your heritage, going through like certain dimensions and everything like that. I'm constantly looking through. You know, the other day I was at a restaurant and I swear that, you know, I was looking at these, well, at some of what was perceived to be Jesus' followers, but, you know, it was a Christian or Muslim that had followers. Because I almost think that Christopher and Christian were working together, father and son. I had somebody stand in my living room one day and look at me and say, I am God. And I said, did you know the blue? I said, my God. I am Lucifer is the son of God, the mother and the father. But you preach, no matter what way you preach, but you see it one way and that's the only way. So it's like you got fucking tunnel vision and you can't see the rest of what's around you. It's like, hey, get your fucking head out of Uranus's ass so you can see. Sorry, that's something in my food. So yesterday I didn't get to come in because we took the lobster and we freed it. It was later by the time I got home. And if people don't see the right thing in that, see even the McMullen and Byzantium family married into each other. The McMullen and Bootler married into each other. The Byzantium and Bootler married into one another. Byzantium and Bootler. I know that first what uh, my seventh great granddaddy's first wife's last name was. I often wonder if she was my seventh great granny's sister. Because if it was, there would have been a few years in the difference. See, constrained truth and reconciliation. When you say every child matters, it's not every child that matters, it's every life that matters. because in the residential schools, the people that work there were forced to do things too. It was a survival. Didn't make it right, no. There was a lot of bloodshed. It was raped, cut, because it was easier to dispose of them without perceived. That's what I said. There's a ton of it on the residential school, right around the residential school in Shubenacadie. And that's why I said at the start of this video, you might want to find out who owns it or who owned it then, because you'll find out. It's like you're going to find two. You know, I never had a problem with jingling keys until I went through my spiritual awakening. Does that word offend you? Right in December of 2019, death experience in 2020. And that's when I got thrown over into the dark spirit realm. It took me in a space where nobody could hear me, but people say, oh, well, that was just psychosis. That's what the dogmatic world believes you to believe. That's the dharma. You know, if you look at a lot of different cultures, other cultures will say too that the British came in and controlled it, but so it was European settlers. You know, you say about what's going on with, you know, some are for Israel, some are for Palestinians. But, you know, they both came from the same family. I'm going to say it again. When I did my genealogy, like shit, I'm the 14th or 15th generation. And from my great great granny back from her father, and his before him and before him and before him, they were rabbi, and their last names were Levy and Halevi. Coincidence? You know, Yeshua, Raphael, Isaac, Moses, Solomon, Gershom, Nathan. Shoot, I hate that friggin' right now. I gotta get a new one because the wires are a mess with the wires. I actually have, like, I was channeling and I was drawing stuff, places in parts in Oak Island. And I damn near shit myself when I went to Oak Island because I thought I was looking at, I thought it was going to be like this flat land. But, you know, it hit hills like my drawings do. It might look like a kid's drawing, but hey, it was a kid seeing it. Great granddaddy was John. My great Grammy was Mary Elizabeth. My second great Grammy, sorry, because she was the mother of John. And then David was my third. Grisham was my fourth. Nathan was my fifth. Asher was my sixth. Moses Raphael was my seventh. Yeshua Isaac was my eighth. Isaac Yishker, can't pronounce that, was my ninth. Moses was my 10th. And Solomon ben Isaac was my 11th. And then my on my mom's mother's side, that was my grandfather's side, my mom's father's side. On my mom's side, let's see, they were first cousins because their fathers were brothers. So great grandpa was James. Second great grandpa James. Third great grandpa John. Fourth great grandpa John. Fifth great grandpa Alexander. Sixth Jean was Jean Jacob Jock or Jean Jock Jacob. And then seventh was Jean George. See, let's see. Okay, my grandpa David, and then his mother was Alice Croft. May. Because I seen a guy and I kept saying Anna May. Well, it so happened that I think he had a grandmother, Anna May. But it was like, cause so I must have been channeling Anna May all this time. So she's somewhere in my family in somehow. So it's Alice Croft, and then her father was John. So my second great grandpa was John on my grandpa's mom's side. And then the third great Grammy or great grandpa was John. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4 Johns in that side with Alice Croft. And it just so happened that the fifth great grandpa, John Croft, was married to Miriam Magdalene. You know, some will be like, oh, well, so. people say, well, everybody's related. Yes, but have you done your genealogy to realize that everyone is related? You'll say everyone is related. So if everybody is related, why the fuck are you throwing shade on each other's culture? Do you not realize that, if people were brought over here, what are you seeing most of? Indians, right? That's what we were in the British. We were brought over. You bringing them over to like have us fight again, to try and slaughter one another. You did in the Paris Treaty War of 1756, which just so happens that it was right around the same time that my seventh great granddaddy was scalped. And this guy sat there yesterday and said about 7 generations. Hey, shithead. Disculpa por ahí. See, people don't realize that it's all of our land. Because our ancestors were here, left, and went across, and then come back and they'll say that, hey, no, no, you're not indigenous, you're not from here, you stole our land. No. We were the families that were already here with the ones that you say were here. How do you think your families got here? You had to go across the water, right? Or did you think that you were just dumped here? Don't like it? Good. Seguimos da escuela. Don't like me? Good. If you're getting irritated with me, good. Because this is a spirit, and I wish you feeling that spirit. Shadow hates me. And the light sometimes can't stick into the light. That's what I said one day. I got right up here and said, hey, great granddaddy, how you like seeing your own face? Psychotic? Well, hey, sometimes you have to come off a little psychotic to shake people up. But hey, keep saying Black Lives Matter and dividing yourselves with one another, because I'm here to tell you all fucking lives matter, and it doesn't matter what color you are. It's still the same people harming us. And you know what? People are stupid enough to continue to put them in power and then say about your history. Put it to out. Am I laughing at you? No, I'm fucking laughing at circumstances of how fucking ridiculous it is. So seriously, better go read your dogma books. Why do you think they're saying that certain things that come up our propaganda or certain things. Because he talked about propaganda yesterday. Dude, you're part of the propaganda because you're saying that white folk don't understand indigenous. We were fucking indigenous. We were making that stuff too because our family members were teaching us. So here, you like to feel superior. How about you go head to head with me in spirit? Well, I may look ridiculous when I'm channeling because I'm channeling their story and I'm channeling truths that don't want to come out. So it's like I'm getting the shit kicked out of me and people want to fucking laugh at me. And we're waiting for our Savior Jesus to come. How many of you knew that Jesus was just about, oh, fuck. Psychotic laugh? Good. Hey, Halloween's coming up. Right? Oh, that's pagan. That's demonic. But yet your fucking churches will decorate for it, right? Seriously. Hi, you know, people will say it like when you watch and you see pigeons and stuff like that. Well, pigeons, you know, you say that's in fairy tales, but they're using pigeons as messengers. And that's myth. That's just in your fairy tales. These people put that their head in. Don't believe that. Don't believe that there were mermaids. Don't believe that there were these types of creatures and what have you, but you toss the walk at the end. As soon as you shall have the other. Vito pure mi ti chiesta la sia tuturi, where is it? Give it to day, hey. Dude, have you been finding anything big yet? Kuri Makai? E mi su tutto che c'è la petizione. Piccata. Su tutto cream. Did anybody ever take a look like from above of Citadel Hill? Like, I mean, literally go in Google Maps and look at Citadel Hill. It's shaped much like a certain, it's shaped like a star. And you know, I'm going to tell you right now, like people don't believe me, but hey, go have a gander at the picture of George's Island. You won't believe me on it, but George's Island, it's actually a ship. You know, go look in there and then tell me how the fuck they got those big tanks there. Because really, I've not seen any opening to be able to get them in. Oh, wait. Because they were already there. You had to hide it, right? You had to hide it from the enemy, right? You know, you'll probably find out that there's going to be other you're going to find out that there's a lot of islands that are probably ships. Just camouflage. You know, people say about 5 islands. The man who took it through the dirt. That was this ridiculous to their head. And it's but oh, I'm the Delulu one. I'd rather be Delulu than in denial. Or look. Hey, don't tell me that you're Indian and indigenous and you don't connect to spirit. Because it was you who lost your heritage. Nobody took it from you. They took your language. But it's up to you to bring it back and realize that it's family. They're not your enemy. You've been taught to think they were. So when you go to put your pickaxe, your fork, and pitchforks, and your knives and guns and everything down, and realize what truth and reconciliation is. But hey, I'm just an uneducated right now. But hey, didn't they say, you know, the white spirit? I'll be prophecy, speak to it. They say, do it as the Guru Vattya. You know, they also say in Hope and Prophecy about the man in the red hat. He wasn't going to be. He'll be like you'll think he. The man in the red hat. But there's going to be a lady in a red dress, and she was Miss Minnie. It's a green. Instituto de Estudo porque eu falo por ele, porque esse quero muito contar. Daí nem tem. Sinto por ele. But hey, that professor is going to continue to teach and discourage people from really truly finding out the truth. Because if you're white, you don't know nothing about the indigenous community. You're fucking shit. Seriously, I owe you no respect because you showed me none. And I honestly, I don't care if you're an elder because you're not fucking acting like me. People say respect your elders, I'll respect my elder when my elder respects me because it's mutual. If an elder looks down on a union and thinks that the union doesn't know shit, maybe that youngin knows more than you. Not being rude, just saying it. Because maybe their spirit is older than you. A lot of people go by what the dogma of what was taught to them. And that's what people go by. You don't look any deeper than that. You just go by what was told to you, preached to you, and beaten into you. So that is one elder that I do respect. And any elder that is like you. So if you discriminate against a white person because you don't know their heritage, you don't know where they came from, you don't know who their ancestors were, including ancient, you might want to put the fucking foot in your mouth and said it. So you were taught to produce your first. Well, according to science, the O negative blood not of this world, but it came to this world. So Africa, the first human? Hmm. That's the O negative bloodline, right? Or the RH negative bloodline. Because the O negative is more or less the rarest of them all because it is the universal bloodline. Why do you think it's so high demand? I was told by somebody that O negative blood is expensive. They give you a lot of money if you donate your blood. They pay you some places. If somebody told me that they donated blood to get money so that they could go see. It's up to them if they do that. And at least they're donating plasma, blood, what have you. I went to donate once in a month, and that was in 2007 because at that time I was only conscious. I donate now? Not right now, no, because I don't trust the system. And I don't need to sell my blood. I heard you can save people's lives. Oh, I can save people's lives if they're donating because I just have to save them before they get to that point where they need to transfer them. But see, your dogma system won't allow that because it doesn't know how to play nice in a world where it's supposed to be a choice. You have a choice if it's not readily available, and people on the natural healing side of it has to say, "Oh, well, the people giving the people pills don't have to say shit. You just run your statistics in your trials. Well, isn't that the same as somebody who's gone to a natural path or a natural healer? It's the same fucking thing, but wait a minute. You don't want that because it's not profitable because you can't continue to make people sicker. I told you. Like, go look into it. They're putting fetuses, aborted fetuses, and what have you, in their vaccines. But you won't believe that, right? So they're putting disease into your vaccines. And then you wonder why you have all this other shit coming back. And then they're blaming it on the immigrants. It's fucking mental. Because that's what that's not psychotic. That's mental. That's a true mental illness. Because you're in denial of the truth of it. So someone who rarely ever got sick and then all of a sudden they're sick all the time, what do you fucking think is wrong with that? I got one. But see, the thing is, people say you're contaminated. with all the respect, it doesn't matter if you get that one needle or two needles of that, you were already fucking contaminated yourself. So you're no better than the ones who got that vaccine. But you like to think you are. Seriously, that's just another way to keep people fighting and apart from families. Because how many fucking families did this did it divide? Many, right? That was the same as they blamed it on the immigrants in 1751. They blamed it on the European settlers coming over. But there was nothing said about the British who carried massive disease because they were filthy people. They were they were very unclean people. But was it the people's fault? No, they were just as much of a victim as everybody else was. It's the ones that you continue to vote for. They catch the ballot. Hey, go vote for the same people over and over again. You keep fucking over and then saying, oh, it's the conservatives, it's the liberals. It's actually both because you're fucking. Did you ever look at the wealth? Did you ever really dig in and realize that they're all doing business deals with one another? Because if they were really looking out for your best interest, they wouldn't be laundering money and hiding it, and they wouldn't be keeping the businesses in the business because that's what your government is. And it was a government that caused this conflict because they said that it was in Indian that, well, Paris, 1756, they said it was an Indian who killed my great granddad, your seventh great granddad, 7 generations. So, he sat up there and said about 7 generations. What fucking seven generations are you talking about? Because I just told you mine. Do you go back to Gene Jock? They call him John or JJ or Jacob. Gene. So please tell me what seventh generation are you talking about? Because you didn't say much about anything except for throwing shade on white people. And even sat there and said if a white person came to you and told you that this was sacred land, you wouldn't believe it because it would have to be the community. So you're saying that they would have to look like you to be able to say it was sacred land. So the ones that spoke French and German and Swiss and fucking different languages, you would say you would not believe. You're an asshole. And like I said, You should not be teaching because you are teaching your students to discriminate white people because you say that they can't connect with your heritage. You're fucking ignorant asshole. And you better go get re-educated before you treat me like I'm uneducated. I have no respect for this man. Last year, I thought I had no respect, but this year, because he knew who I was. He knew exactly who I was because there ain't many blonde white ladies that were at that place. And I looked the same because he had two people standing there and an elder standing there to talk to him. Well, the two younger people that were standing there talking to them, when they started going away, the elder had to follow him, and I had to follow because he was walking away from us. And then he was going to walk away from me. But when I first started walking up to him, he had his glasses up here like this. And I was walking up and he turned and he looked at me and he kind of went, and pretended I was not even there. So, you say white people are privileged, dude? Sorry, but you're acting more privileged than any white person that I know. You'll probably have them there again next year, but I'll give you some advice. Maybe you shouldn't, because he's keeping you from finding out the truth. When you discourage someone from learning Indian culture, so that's why I say your line must have worked for Cornwallis, or you work for them now. Maybe fresh eyes, fresh new spirit needs to step in, and they don't have to be indigenous. Well, they don't have to look like you. We're all indigenous. We all came from the same bloodline for the most part, because most people married into each other. Didn't matter if you were Indian, it didn't matter if you were Acadian. I even know people who class themselves as Acadians and their race is to the Indian. Are you fucking retarded? It's a question. I'm not saying you're retarded. I'm asking you. Because when this person said that, it was like, what? You must have been on the wrong side. And when I say the wrong side, it means that you were put against your own fucking family. So I don't care if you're Indian, black, Chinese, Japanese, Mongolian, or Italian, or French, or Scottish, or Irish, or Portuguese, or Swiss. I don't give a shit. If you're religious, because your religion don't choose color, right? Oh, some religions do, because they call you an immigrant and you don't belong here. They tell us, go back to where you came from. Well, I guess you better go back too, because you aren't from that way. So, hey, you just celebrated truth and reconciliation, and few people know what true truth and reconciliation is. It's not by standing in a fucking field and somebody saying about archaeology and stuff like that. It's about truly connecting with the spirit. But the system forbids you to say the word spirit. Spirit, 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 spirit. Oh, wait. The system prefers the word God because it likes to feel superior. Guess everybody said, should I? God is a figure. Spirit is everything. Spirit is what creates. The indigenous community leader, and some of them will even say spirit. Spirit is a creator. And spirit creates from you. So what do you want to allow creative spirit to create from you? You can create more chaos. Or you can continue to discriminate against each other in your own fucking family. Or are you going to stand together? And I mean, it doesn't matter what color you are or what religion. When are you going to drop it? When are you going to stop seeing color? When are you going to stop, or race? Or, teach your culture. Or at one point, sins are systems integrated into society. So what fucking system are you going to integrate into society? Oh, wait, there's one system that wants to be superior to all and doesn't want to play nice in the field. Like I said before, I didn't come here to play nice in a playground full of bullies. I come off as an asshole or a bitch, I guess, hey, Spirit put me in this position to be one, and I'm along for the ride. I was even doing this shit, and even the indigenous, when they looked at me like I had a fucking 100 heads. Seriously, that's how blinded you are to your own sacred teachings. You can't say something is lost if you're not going to fucking teach it. And you're just going to say, oh, well, these people this and these people that and that and that and that and that. This secreto purikena es purhaya. Kuya kusumukayana. Like the spirit just wants to just throw it out. Don't understand what your fucking spirits do. I stand with spirit. I walk with spirit. I talk with spirit. I cry, laugh, I scream. I even get angry with spirit and spirit with me. It's learning to live in spirit, something that most people don't. Pick me up, Scotty. I'm ready to go home. Hey, they had fucking flying machines, but whoa, wait a minute. That's myth. That's not fucking true. They weren't fucking riding horses through the sky. You're fucking right, they were. But you put it in the motor and you say it's horsepower. Called chariots, right? This whole fairy tale. You're the Lulu lady. No, I'm not. You didn't learn about Atlantis, Lemuria. You didn't learn about any ancient civilizations, did you? In your school, you just learned about fucking dogma that gave one side to everything and blamed the opposite every fucking time instead of saying both sides of it of each play. I'll tell you, they were bullies because they had their fucking crowns on. Here, let me take that crown off of your head, take out all the gems, break down all the fucking gold, and give it to the people because it is the people. And I don't give a fuck what color you are. See, you would think that, hey, the crown are the ones with the knights, all the heavy artillery, right? But they put you in the crossfire to play their little fucking head games with each other. Because it's like a novel, right? It's like a game of risk. You've got to conquer something else to feel superior, right? You can't be superior in your own self. That's very insecurity. And that was that guy yesterday. You're so insecure. Oh, wait. You're so confident that a white person means shit for the individual situation. Hey, they're trying to cancel coffee tables. Hey, where's my coffee table? I better put my feet up on the coffee table before somebody tries to cancel it. And it's a good thing on. That's how fucking ridiculous things are. And people will stand at attention. Yes, sir, right away, sir. Order to my eye. I don't respect anything that doesn't respect people, nor should you. You should be standing with the people, not with the systems. There are certain countries that have their country at a standstill. Instead of giving what they would like, people are saying the prophecy, the prophecy, the prophecy. It's splitting. The world is splitting. The world is splitting. The world is already splitting because you put fucking dick peckers in the lead to lead you who can't even fucking lead themselves. How's that work again? People think all you do is yell at people. And all you do is fucking complain to people and say, get out of our country. Stop reading a story out of a book and continue to repeat it. Learn your own TV language instead of by what other people, what these so-called teachers say. How many of them are actually teaching love? Because all I see is teaching division, showing division. But I know that there's different countries and everybody's coming together and they're trying to stop it. Did you ever watch the movie, was it Ants or A Bug's Life? Sorry, A Bug's Life. Hopper. Hopper was the head honcho of the grasshoppers, which would represent the locusts. Who's in charge of the locusts? Hey, to the orange one that has that guy going up there and saying that fat people have no place in the military. I've seen, excuse the term, that's what they use. I've seen fat people more healthier than skinny people. And I think they might want to have it because he says it doesn't look good for their image. You fucking moron. And I do say you're a moron. Not good for your image. What fucking image? Like, you might want to look at your president because he's well overweight unless he has a fat suit on. Coach burgers. Hey, didn't Putin say that they're putting certain types of meat in your burgers? They're feeding you yourselves. But that's not real. Donald Trump was telling you that, certain people will eat dogs and cats. Well, he wasn't wrong. There are certain cultures that do eat cats and dogs. It may be illegal, but they eat cats and dogs. Some even eat fucking rats. But hey, indigenous communities, indigenous, like they eat fucking porcupines and everything. Some of them even said that a porcupine would taste much like chicken. But hey, that's not true. That's propaganda. No, it's not fucking propaganda. It's actual truth. It's just not in your face. Hey, how do you know when it's like, no offense to the Chinese restaurants, but how do you know when you go into a Chinese restaurant that you think it's chicken and it's actually fucking cat or dog? I'm not saying, I just said, I'm not saying it is, but hey, in some countries they eat horse meat. You eat snake, alligator, you know, you think cannibals don't exist? Some of our ancestors were like that. But you don't look at that way, yeah, maybe that's where the word savage came from. Oh crap! Querete tener ese monta. Ya, dice que quizá no siya kumbaya. It's like spirits telling you, look at yourself. Look in the mirror at yourself. Look at what you've done to others. And I said yesterday, hey, somebody, like, for truth and reconciliation, why don't you go to somebody that you fucking lied to or tried to, like, skim under and manipulate and everything like that? Go to them and tell them the truth. But that was the person said yesterday that, no, that's not it at all. You're fucking right, it is. Truth. You got to bring truth forward to get to the reconciliation. First comes communication. But hey, as long as you keep those people in the middle. Oh, wait. They see you to be the monkeys. Dance for me, monkeys. Dance. Dance for me, monkeys. Dance. Dance for me, monkeys. Dance. Oh, wait. Let's play monkey in the middle. Oh, look at them. Look at them trying to grab that food. Oh, let's keep throwing it back and forth and watch the monkey jump. Eso tu purita no estoy na makakalagay to tuloy. Oh, well, that's not very love and light about you. For sure. Hey, it's not very love and light about you going and, not even being honest with, not even being honest with your own fault, not even being honest with your siblings. But first and foremost, not being honest with yourself. That's the hardest. Like sometimes you tell people the truth, but you don't believe yourself, and you tell people lies and you don't even believe yourself. I've had like somebody tell people of what I told them, and I tried teaching them. They'll tell other people to do it, but they don't believe it, and they don't use it themselves. They just get it from me and then claim it as their own. And say that I'm a deliverer. Yeah, when are you going to be honest? Today, when I was at the hospital, and we were sitting in the room, I was honest with the I told her that when I look at her, I see a gray hybrid. I explained to her why I see her as a gray hybrid because I actually seen gray hybrids. They weren't the short ones that you see with more of a round face and a shorter body. They were the ones that would be like more 5 feet tall, very longer-gated faces with the big black eye, and like the eyes were like that, like they were big black, and it was like they had a lot of them usually come, and it's like they have a really thin scuba diving suit on, and they're like their limbs are really long, and their bodies are like sort of like elongated, but their arms are long and they're longer for their bodies, and their fingers are very elongated. And they'll come in fours, and it's like when I seen them, because I know that they had me somewhere and they were fixing my stomach. And when I seen them, it was like I was back on a bed, and there's one here, one here, and one over here, towards like more at the foot of my bed. And they were trying to communicate mine. And but I got freaked out. And then there was another time where it was like I was in this room and I could see like different things. It was almost like there was computers there, but they weren't really computers type thing. It was just a few, not like a few things there, and the bed was more closer to the floor. But when I looked around, there was like 7 to 10 of them, and they were taller, but their face. Oh, son of a bitch. Este lo que muy ano. Mira que tal. Sí, sí que es like. Oh shit. Man. This is gonna be sorry. Shit. Dying. Bear with me one sec if you don't mind. I appreciate it. Se convertía en el Oh, this is weird. Either. Okay. Here. There we go. Okay. I got to do Holy shit. Okay. Just 1 second here. Okay. Okay. All right. So, like I said, and you see my face? Well, maybe you can, but just see it as a bright light, and this was her face. But hey, people won't believe that because, hey, that's just too out there. But yet you're having a disclosure, right? But, they don't want a disclosure because they'll tell you, oh, but you're the ones that are hurting you are already here. But people won't believe it. Oh, well, that's not real. That's not real. Because the brain is real. I even seen the giants because the giant was one of them who freaking raped me in the spiritual world. And then there was a bigger Mongolian one there too. And hey, when I went to my ex-husband's place and used the bathroom because he got me out after falling down, he got me out of it. And when I went to his place, I used the bathroom. And no word of a lie. Semen gushed out of me. My ex-husband here one day, he said, yeah, you should you should have got some of it. I should have got some of it. I was just fucking traumatized, you jackass, at that time. And then you tell me years later that I should have got a specimen of it? Yeah, I should have. But do you really think that I could have at that time when I had just been fucking traumatized? But no, I don't know spirit. I've never connected with spirit. I'm just fucking delulu. I better go take my pill, right? No, you better wake up. Why don't you stop planning for something to happen and help make it happen instead of waiting for somebody else to do it? Not killing someone because you preach about not killing, but yet you preach about killing. A little bit of a how's that work again? Dice que no te crean, boy. Like seriously, could someone please tell me how that works again? You're not going to like me. I don't care. That's entirely up to yourself. But I'm going to say when you're going to start when are you going to start addressing the elephant in yourself and realizing that wait a minute, just don't make sense. That people are talking about the 15-minute cities and everything like that. You're taking the split or what have you. Do I agree with like what's said to be happening in England with regards to the digital ID saying you can't work, and then you're putting in 15-minute cities? Should you be stopping people from traveling outside those 15-minute cities and going to visit people in other 15-minute cities? Because, hey, their family probably doesn't live there, so you're going to isolate them from their family just so you can have fucking control? How about we take you, the ones that want control, how about we take you and put you in the fucking control space? And then watch you run around like fucking lab rats and mice. Oh, don't forget the dogs and cats that they've been using. Oh, wait a minute. They've been using people too. So that means that we can use you. Because with all due respect, we're not the ones that should be locked up. It should be you. Because you're the ones that's destroying the environment, not people. We're just not given the choice. And whenever we do try to take that choice to make something different, like this, we destroy. No, it wasn't 15-minute cities. People were able to create them because they weren't sitting on their seats. What's next? Oh shit! Oh shit! Where's the news? What's happening today? I don't know. Walk outside and tell me what's happening today. Right now, what's happening today? It's been raining and the clouds are out. And, sun's sort of trying to like pink sky over there, and every so often I see the trees growing and the air smells. But right, you're saying about chemtrails. Well, hey, who's doing it? The ones you fucking put in charge, right? Who's the good one? So tell me again why you keep voting for these people. What? Because they have money, and if they have money, they must be smart. They have money. Oh, they're smart. But the only smarts they have, the majority of them, is how to corrupt people. Why do you think they all go learn business? Okay? Right? The dolphin, that sounds so fucked up, right? Calling the devil. Oh, so to see the PDF in moonlight. It's like saying the moonlight every video game. Because saying is always so that you call it Satan. Well, you know, Satan is actually Santa Claus, and Santa Claus is called Christopher, then I guess it's crucified, right? You say that Jesus came to bring judgment. Does that mean that crucifier is execution? It's me. Crucified to bring justice. Shiva, which Shiva, another name for Shiva means for spiritual terror. The Terra was name, and then the spiritual Shiva. So I resonate with all these terror spirits. Coincidence? Tara? Tara 1, India. Spirit ally, Shiva. Number 8, and I always said 8, I always said, like I've been a little back for a while now, I had some of my things as Angel 8. There's Terra 1, Terra 2, oh shit. Terra Black, Terra Blue, Terra Green, Terra Orange, Terra Red, Terra White, Terra Yellow. Well, Terra White, that's Spirit, the White Spirit. But oh, right, Indigenous, according to that so-called professor. You can't be the Spirit if you don't look like it. You can't be Indigenous. And I look furthest from what an Indian person would look like. But some would say you're the devil. Well, you call anyone a devil if they don't believe, same way as you exhibit something you can't understand. It's got to be a devil. Oh wait, some use it, like I said. You say Satan, but Satan is Santa. Santa was imagination and mystical, right? The creativity. So you demonize it. Some say that Satan or Santa left people who were bad a lump of coal. Well, that was just some myth, actual myth that you told your children because Santa actually used coal and left it for the people so that they could cook their Christmas dinner the next morning because coal was fuel. Don't you use that for electricity? Just ask them. But you keep telling your kids, Santa's going to leave you coal, Santa's going to leave you coal. Tell your children what the actual meaning of coal, of the backing of what coal and a stocking represented. They were giving their kids candies and everything like that because it rarely was around in those times. So people like to say Trump is Big Daddy. Hey, Big Daddy, mama's home. Dice que te pones de mucha cara este puto real. Hey, the feminine, the phoenix rising, it rises in you. But all right, you're comfortable where you are until you're no longer comfortable, and then you cry to the neighbor who told you about it already. And you don't, you expect expect them to help you after you treated them like a piece of shit and told them to go back to the country with you. You're an asshole! Destroy my. Even people I knew. I knew like people I knew them were truthful. Because the past, I'll say the past year, a lot of people have showed the true colors. And I thank you for that. Because you helped me grow. You helped me to see more truth. You helped me to embrace my shadow and not be ashamed of it. You helped me to see my own light and to be able to squash your shadow and speak directly to it. Because it's a spirit to spirit. Shadows can go against one another, and two lights and a shadow. Because it doesn't matter what side you're on, whether you're a shadow or you're a light. You have conflict between them. And that conflict, it's an inner conflict. And that's why the people will never find true reconciliation until you defeat your demons. So with that being said, I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings, most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting, willing to receive and accept. I want you all to be thankful for the most importantly for yourself, your authentic self, be true to yourself, be kind to yourself, and know that you have more strength than you can comprehend at times. Step out of that dogma. I know that it seems good, but that's the illusion. That's the part where you have a church representing like more of the cabal, the system, okay, the dogmatic system, okay, and people get offended when I say about church, but I refer, we are the temple, and it has the penis going in the chimney, which the chimney represents getting you from behind, casting an illusion in front of you while they're getting you from behind. And then making you believe that it's someone's in front of you. Just sit with it. Because it's that part, playground, Red Rover, I call my family. And it doesn't matter. Light or shadow. You are one. But, people didn't like me saying that because I felt that right in here. Lost it. Let me put it another way for you. Your fear. You say demons. Demons represent deep memories. That is generation. It's a behavior. It's a habit. It's something that is learned and passed down. So you say genetics. which, like I said, genetics are your generation. Keep being cursed with the behaviors of your ancestors. And the only way you're going to change that is by seeing your family back. Because certain places are fighting over land. Do you know that was two siblings in the beginning fighting over land? And all lies and deceit will come to light. All lies and deceit, you know. The shadow will see its own light, and the light will have to recognize its own shadow. Because to have a balance, because you've been a male and you've been a female. The mannerisms of a male and you've had the mannerisms of a female. People say, "Oh, how you get that?" Well, hey, you ever done? Are you a female? And have you ever done a man's role? Or have you ever been a male and done a female's role? That's the balance. That's the yin and yang. That's the true spirited. You can't push one away and expect everything to be okay. Just saying. Have a great night. Love you all.